Have you ever had that feeling like your house is haunted? Not, by an actual ghost, but by some kind of invisible force that's making your radio hiss or your TV glitch out. You've unplugged everything, I mean everything. But that phantom buzz, it's still there. Well, today we're hunting down that exact kind of ghost.
Hey, welcome. So just so you know, this explainer is part 8 of a 10-part series. It's all based on this fantastic report about RFI from a group called RFI Detectives. But hey, if you're just jumping in, don't worry, because today we're tackling a very specific and honestly a very frustrating problem: interference that comes from outside your home.
Okay, so let's paint the picture. You've done everything you're supposed to do. You've unplugged the TV, the microwave, every single phone charger. You've even gone to the breaker box and killed the power to the whole house.
And yet, you turn on a little battery-powered radio, and that horrible noise is still there. It's maddening, right? It's like a mystery where you've eliminated every possible suspect inside the house. So where do you even look next? What in the world is going on?
Well, this is the part where we have to expand our investigation. We need to look beyond our own four walls, because in these really stubborn cases, the call isn't coming from inside the house. The problem is out there, somewhere.
And this brings us to a really key difference. See, most of the interference we've talked about before starts inside your home. You can track it down and unplug it. Problem solved. But utility RFI, that's a whole different animal. The source is off your property, which means you can't just go and turn it off. It takes a whole new strategy.
And that's exactly why this is so important to talk about. The report from RFI Detectives points out that, this kind of thing is less common than, say, a noisy dimmer switch. But when it happens, man, it happens big. It's persistent, it can affect a huge range of your devices, and it can be super disruptive.
Okay, so if the bad guy isn't in your house, who is it? Well, let's take a look at our first lineup of suspects. And it's a big one: the utility grid itself.
Yep, you heard that right. The problem could literally be the electrical wires running down your street. It might be a faulty piece of equipment or a transformer sitting up on a utility pole. And get this, sometimes it's not even a mistake. It's an intentional signal that's just causing you some unintentional grief.
And that brings us to this thing called power line communication, or PLC. Just think of it like the power company sending little data packets over the power lines. They use it for things like reading your meter without having to send a person out. It's super useful for them, but sometimes those data signals can kind of leak out, creating noise that messes with your stuff.
But it's not just about the big, old power grid. There's a much more modern culprit that's popping up in neighborhoods everywhere, and that is the solar panel system.
See, every solar panel system has a box called an inverter. Its whole job is to take the DC electricity from the panels and turn it into the AC electricity your house can use. Now, to do that, it has to switch the electricity on and off at an incredible speed. And that super fast switching, well, it can act like a sledgehammer, creating a ton of radio noise if it isn't properly shielded.
And here is the real head-scratcher. The noisy solar system might not even be yours. Radio waves couldn't care less about your property line. A bad inverter or a shoddy installation on your neighbor's roof can absolutely flood your house with radio interference.
Okay, so we know the suspects. They're big, they're outside, and you definitely can't unplug them. So, how on earth do you solve this kind of case? Simple. You call for backup.
This is probably the most important thing to remember. Your role has to change. You stop being a technician and you become a detective. Your job is to rule out everything inside your house, to gather the evidence that proves the source is external. It is absolutely not your job to climb a pole or mess with a neighbor's solar system. That's their job, the power company or a professional installer.
The source material is crystal clear on this point. This is not a do-it-yourself project. Trying to fix it yourself would be pointless at best and, maybe even dangerous. The solution has to come from the pros who are trained and authorized to work on this stuff.
And really, that's the whole idea behind the RFI Detectives report. It's all about giving you the knowledge you need to be a great investigator, so you can gather the clues and present a solid case to the people who can actually fix the problem for you.
Which of course leads us to the final critical question. You've done the detective work. You are 99% sure the problem is with the power lines or your neighbor's system. But how do you get the power company to actually listen? What do you say? What evidence do you need to make them take you seriously? Well, that's exactly what we'll be diving into in a future explainer. Thanks for tuning in.